How do you prospect on LinkedIn in 2025? It's much more difficult than it ever has been to prospect. If you're in sales, if you're a small business owner, you know what I mean. Your inbox is saturated, your prospects' inbox are saturated. There's so much AI slop coming at you. It's hard to cut through all of that noise. So I'm going to walk you through how I prospect on LinkedIn and what's working for me. Just tell you what's working for me. So first off, before we get into the kind of nuts and bolts of it, I just want to explain a bit of a concept with prospecting on LinkedIn. You cannot treat LinkedIn like email. It's a very different medium than email. And when you're outreaching on LinkedIn, it should feel more like a familiar conversation. Many people get this wrong and they send these 7-paragraph War and Peace sales pitches and nobody responds to them. And now in 2025, LinkedIn is actively blocking and restricting people who do that kind of behavior. So when I'm prospecting on LinkedIn, I need 4 things. The first one is I need to search and build a list of leads. Now I need a list of prospects, and quick tip, you want to have more or less the exact same personas. It's much easier to build an efficient process to prospect on LinkedIn and get results if you're prospecting the same personas all at the same time. If you're trying to talk to marketing directors and CEOs, SaaS companies and manufacturing businesses at the same time, in the same process, you will be gloriously unsuccessful. So what I do is I search on Sales Navigator, I find a list of prospects, all in the same industry, all the same role. So most of my activity will be very similar. And then I get them into a list where I can, which is my second part, track my progress with those prospects. So search and find the people and the same people. Second, I need a way to track them. And I'm going to show you this on a demo screen in a second. So I need to be able to track people and move them on a journey. The days of just hitting people up with one message and getting responses are over. You need to have a tracking mechanism to move people through a journey. Now on that journey, you're going to need to do some actions. That's the third one. What are those actions I'm going to do along that journey to engage that prospect? So from start to finish, I map out every action I'm going to take and what assets I'm going to need for it. So actions and assets. What am I going to do and have I made it? So if I need a case study to share with prospects, obviously I can use the same case study with all of my prospects because the personas are the same. But if I use try and make multiple case studies, I'm going to overload myself with work. So that's A, actions. And then the final one is the routines. I need to allocate time in my diary to do this stuff. So now I've walked through the star, let's actually look at it in action and how I put it together. So this is my whole process of what I do, and I will show you this video message in a second. So I can't rely on emails. They don't work, to be honest with you. I know LinkedIn tells you all about how you can use them, but they're not very good. So my first job is, on my first phase of this process, is actually what I call the connection phase. And in this phase, what I'm primarily trying to do is disarm the prospect. And that might be 2, 3, or 4 actions, usually 4. Obviously, if you're targeting real big companies where you've got a real serious opportunity that you could get from them, you're going to take a little longer and take more time. But for the average person, it's between 3 and 4 interactions to actually build up a little bit of rapport. You don't need to be best friends with them. You don't need to know their kids' names. It's just a simple way of just disarming a bit of what we call familiarity. It goes a long way down the line. So build that familiarity. So things like engaging with content, sending them something that you've seen on LinkedIn, sharing content, that kind of stuff can be really, really simple. So I'm connecting. I send a little thank you note. I might engage with some of their content if they've posted. I might share something funny or interesting that I found on LinkedIn. I'm just trying to build up some digital rapport. So 3 to 4 interactions just to build up rapport. Then my next phase is I'm looking to get people to self-identify. So this is the curiosity phase. So I will use a loaded poll. I'll use a case study, I'll use an article or a blog, I'll use a lead magnet, all prepared for this persona to get them to show some interest. Because if I can get them to raise their hand and say that was relevant for me and start to talk to me about it, it's way easier to get a call from somebody expressing interest in you than you asking for a call. So I dedicate some of my time to trying to get them to raise their hand as a lead by, like I said, loaded polls, white papers, case studies, blogs or articles, LinkedIn Live events, anything like that I can do to get them to raise their hands because it's easier to get a call off the back. So this is, again, 2 or 3 actions here. And then my final piece is my video message. Now, one of my clients, large corporate, they get 30% response rate to these video messages because they're ultra personal. We call it hyper targeted prospecting because it's not doing that icky thing of sending the 7-paragraph sales pitch. It's actually showing you've done your research, you've done the legwork, and you have actually something to offer. So before I'm sending these video messages, I'm making sure I'm interacting with that prospect, and then I'll go and research their business. Now, if we go back to the beginning with the star, because most of these prospects are the same, their personas, their industries, roles, all that kind of stuff are the same, it's more likely that my video messages will be very, very, very similar. So I'm recording a presentation that's branded up for them. And then I quickly change the branding for the next prospect and just tweak it a little bit. And I send a video message via Loom. This is a really simple way to do it. And I get huge responses from this. I think I get responses and it does so well for me because, simply put, everybody else is too flipping lazy to actually do this. Most people will not want to do it. They'll avoid it, so they'll automate slop to prospects, hoping that if they send enough, something will come back. Whereas what I do is I actually go the extra mile and record an individual video for them. And that's why I'm getting a 15% meeting booking rate. And my clients, one of my corporate clients, get a 30% meeting booking rate because I'm putting in the effort. I'm doing something that everybody else isn't doing. So like I said, 15% meeting booking rate is amazing. Would I love it to be 100%? Yes. But that does mean that a chunk of the people won't respond, will say no thanks, or just never see it. So what I do is I wait a few days and I actually send that Loom video on their email too, because I know that some people just don't check LinkedIn. Now, coming back to the routines that I mentioned earlier, what I've done is I've programmed my day so that the first thing I do each day is send my videos. So before I get into the craziness of the day, my videos are done and I'm just picking up replies throughout the day. Because I know if I try and do these Looms during the day, something will get in the way. So my routine protects my prospecting and I'll get 1-2 calls booked each and every day from people on LinkedIn because of my videos. And because this process is slick, because this process is all the same prospects, it's actually really, really efficient. In 30 minutes a day, I can get 1 to 2 meetings because it's nailed, it's process driven, it's locked down, and I just do the work. So that's how I find and get clients on LinkedIn. I'd love to know what you thought about this. If you'd like to have a look at some of my presentations, some of my Looms, or you want to see how that canvas that I showed you works in practice, drop me a DM on LinkedIn or Instagram, give me a follow, happily share my Looms and some of my templates with you so you can have a go yourself. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Appreciate it. Helps me get seen more across the platform. But hyper-targeted prospecting is the way to go, guys. See you on the next video.